Welcome to Fundamental Islam. In this video, we'll see whether cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin is halal in Islam or not. First thing to note, we will not be discussing whether as an individual Muslim, investing in cryptocurrency is halal or not, because for this, there are plenty of fatwas available that says that it is a haram investment, since it resembles gambling. As you can see from this chart, the value of famous cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, fluctuates a lot in a very small period of time. Like in April 2013, its value was around $135. Just in 7 months, it increased to $1,125. In March 2021, its value increased to $58,000. Then in just a couple of years, it dropped to $20,000. So because of these fluctuations, scholars declare crypto investing haram and equivalent of gambling. So for this video, our focus will be whether cryptocurrency can be a halal alternative to other forms of currencies like the fiat money or gold and silver. In order for something to be halal, it should be according to Quran and Sunnah. Allah says in the Quran, "Give the measure and weight in full, and do not deprive people of what is rightfully theirs by diminishing the value of their things, such as labor, merchandise, property, etc." If you look at the paper note issued by your central bank, it with times loses value. If you could buy 2 cups of coffee with this paper note, a couple of years later it would be worth only enough to buy you 1 cup of coffee. It is because world's reserve paper currency, US dollar, that initially was linked with gold, was de-linked in 1970s by the US government. Hence, US dollar and all the other currencies that were linked to it became fiat currency, a currency that is backed by no hard asset and hence has no intrinsic value. We use them as money because we simply have faith in the US government who controls its value. If they decide to print more paper, it will fall in value and hence result in inflation. If $1 US could buy you 1 bar of chocolate, when US government prints more dollar, the same chocolate bar will cost $2. If a man could buy this much grocery with his salary, after bank prints more paper and hence causes inflation, the same salary would buy less grocery than before, causing him to lose value of his money and afford less items than before, even though he does the same amount of labor as before. So fiat currency should be haram because it makes people lose value of their money and labor. Now let's see how cryptocurrency like the famous one Bitcoin would perform as a global currency. According to the proponents of Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not a fiat currency, rather it's a hard asset itself. Some people even call it the 21st century gold. This is because its production is not as easy as printing paper, rather it's produced by crypto mining. Some powerful computers do crypto mining by consuming a huge amount of electricity to produce a single Bitcoin. When 2 people around the world make their transactions in Bitcoin, buyer simply sends Bitcoin from his virtual wallet to seller's virtual wallet. This exchange is cheap, fast as compared to physical money transfer. This transaction will be validated by Bitcoin miners. Miners get paid in Bitcoin for verifying this transaction and receive block rewards for mining. A miner is just a person with a powerful computer who runs a mining program on it that solves complex mathematical problems, which is simply just a number guessing game with unlimited rounds. Let's say there are 2 players playing this game. They have to choose a number between 1 to 1000. Only few hundred numbers are the winning numbers. The one who guesses the winning number first is rewarded with number of bitcoins that halve every 4 years. The difficulty is increased by time by increasing the range of number available for guessing. Now this requires a lot of electricity. Production of 1 bitcoin requires 1449 kilowatts per hour. It's the same amount of electricity consumed by an average American household in 13 years. So because actual resources are used to produce Bitcoin, just like mining gold requires resources, the proponents of Bitcoin say it's an actual asset that has cost associated with it. Some benefits of Bitcoin over other forms of currencies that are told are that it is decentralized. It's not controlled by any regulatory body like government or central banks. The transactions made are easy, fast, and cheap as compared to physical currencies that require physical transfer of wealth from buyer to seller. It prevents inflation since the supply of Bitcoin is capped. According to the rules set by its creator, we can never have more than 21 million Bitcoins in the world. Unlike fiat paper currency that has no limit to its production, this rule of Bitcoin, according to its proponents, will prevent it from being devalued and cause inflation. Now, apart from being ideal for global transaction by being easy and fast, other arguments are not very strong. First of all, there's no doubt there are evil and greedy people in the world who want their monopoly over the monetary system. They want monetary system to be in their hands so that they can control the global economy. That's why we see many central banks around the world creating their own fiat central bank digital currency. Since governments got more money, they can create a system that is even more efficient than crypto. It will be more easy and fast to use, so it would honestly require a revolution to get rid of their monopoly and create a fair, decentralized system. But let's say even if Bitcoin manages to become the future global currency, will it be absolutely decentralized? Bitcoin fanatics say that the miners are the one who control the blockchain. The first developer created it in a way that if somebody wants to make a change to the system, it cannot be enforced unless there is consensus among the miners. And in order to be a miner, you need to have very expensive, powerful computers. Not everyone can become a miner, only rich people can. Bitcoin currently has many developers after the original creator disappeared. Like any software, Bitcoin also needs upgrading and maintenance, but this cannot be done unless miners agree. If developers want to change something, they produce a BIP, which is a Bitcoin improvement proposal. If 95% miners vote in its favor, then the change will be enforced. So it's possible to alter the rules of Bitcoin that appears to be very pleasing as compared to fiat money. That means the supply cap value of Bitcoin can be altered if developers propose it and miners and nodes support it. And why wouldn't they? Miners want to mine more Bitcoins. There can be many excuses that they can give to change the rules of Bitcoin. Like for example, 3.7 million Bitcoins are lost permanently due to people forgetting their password or doing incorrect transactions that make the Bitcoin private key inaccessible. This is like 20% of total Bitcoin that are mined so far. So developers and miners can use this as an excuse to mine more Bitcoins. Another excuse that can be used is the transaction fee. Miners make money two ways: block rewards for solving the mathematical problem, which is called mining, and transaction fee as they verify the transactions and record them in the ledger. With time, the reward for mining reduces, and when all the Bitcoins are mined, miners will receive no block rewards. Now, to keep miners' incentives who have invested millions of dollars on mining hardware, either the transaction fee will increase, making Bitcoin usage impossible for poor people, or the cap amount will be changed and more Bitcoins will be allowed to mine, which will reduce the value of Bitcoin, causing inflation. So there are many reasons that miners can give to change the rules of Bitcoin. Secondly, Bitcoin mining can be dominated by rich people. When Bitcoin first came, people could even mine with their average personal computer. But with time, as the blockchain size increased, it required huge amounts of computing power and data to mine Bitcoins, and hence high electricity bill. Currently, the blockchain size is 250 gigabytes and increases at 50 gigabytes per year. Today, miners don't mine individually, rather they prefer mining in mining pools. A mining pool is a joint group of cryptocurrency miners who combine their computation resources over a network. If a mining pool is successful in receiving a reward, then reward is divided among the participants in the pool. So in the future, as the blockchain size increases even more, it will become impossible for average people to mine Bitcoin, and mining work will be taken over by big companies and even governments who have more money to buy and create expensive powerful computers. Currently, the powerful computer that is needed for mining is ASIC. 70 to 80% of these are made by a Chinese company called Bitmain. So these big companies and governments will become the miners, and since Bitcoin is controlled by its miners, rich companies and governments will take over Bitcoin and make their own rules. They will change the cap value and even mess up with the code in a way that will produce Bitcoins for them without even energy-extensive mining. It's not impossible. After all, it's just a software code that can be changed. And this way, Bitcoin will become a centralized fiat money, so it won't solve the world's problem as some people dream. Lastly, according to a research paper published recently, by looking at the mining activities between 2009 when the currency was first introduced and 2011 when it was worth the same as US dollar, the study found that the most of the early Bitcoin mining was done by only 64 owners. These 64 agents mined a total of 2 million Bitcoins. Researchers also found that it would have been easy for these early adopters to use financial attacks to take advantage of the network and make a lot of money, such as fraudulently sending the same Bitcoin multiple times. This is called 51% attack. The original creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, frequently controlled the majority of the computational resources and could perform 51% attack. However, these attacks would have hurt the reputation and future of Bitcoin, so Satoshi and early miner agents avoided these attacks. So rather than relying exclusively on the decentralized, trustless network of anonymous actors, Bitcoin depended on altruistic behavior by a group of anonymous agents. So what's the conclusion? There are many things that were created to be decentralized, like democracy, private media, but evil, greedy people found a way to control it. You see, the problem is not with the system. Problem is with the people who become greedy and manipulate the system for their own interest. As a Muslim, it's our duty to fix the problems and fight the evil that causes these problems. We should be very careful with the type of system we support. A bad manipulative system can cause suffering for most of the humanity, while benefiting only few. It not just causes poverty and hunger, but it allows bloody wars like that of Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Libya. To fight these wars, US government printed trillions of dollars out of thin air to buy destructive weapons that took millions of innocent lives. That's why we need a monetary system that is the least manipulative, and that's only possible with gold and silver. Unlike man-made currencies, nobody can produce gold and silver. They have their own unique properties that no other elements can mimic. The most the government can do is reduce the amount of gold and silver in the coin, but that's something we can detect easily and force governments to stop that corruption, which is our duty as a Muslim. A monetary system based on precious rare metals will restrict corrupt people from manipulating it. Right now, the value of gold is manipulated by banks to make the US dollar look valuable, but once the fiat currency is abolished and gold and silver system is established, the demand for gold will rise and it will restore its value. Gold has been a global currency for centuries. There will never be a time when some sane person would trade gold coin for a leather shoe. You cannot say the same about man-made currencies like paper or Bitcoin that are controlled by few humans. Using gold and silver as currency might not be as easy as carrying paper or sending Bitcoin, but we can find solutions to this problem. Like for example, for smaller everyday transactions, we can produce a currency note that has 24K gold foil attached to it. The value of this note will be equal to the amount of gold attached to it. What do you think? Give your ideas in the comment section. Thanks for watching.